Wayne, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Wes.
So, viewers, what I want to cover off here is we caught up with Wayne going back a few months ago. I think it was around about August-ish?
August, yeah.
August last year, 2018, and just in the street. We'd known each other previously through martial arts.
Yep.
But you didn't really know what I was doing too much in terms of real estate.
No.
And you had some connections in real estate as well already. But you're saying that you were looking to sell, and so we thought, well, let's have a look at it for you and just see where it goes. So what I want to cover off for people is just so they can understand that experience of what we actually did, how we look at it a bit differently, and what that outcome was. And so, as I say to everybody that do these interviews, tell it as it is. So I was not here to sugarcoat anything, not here to make something better than it is, just as it is.
Yep.
Yeah. From that initial stages of sort of trying to understand what your property was worth, where would you like to sort of start with that? Because there was some work that needed to be done on it that hadn't been completed.
Yeah, that's correct. The place had been renovated probably around 10 years previously and hadn't been finished. And I still had the backyard to landscape. It was pretty run down out the back, and I just didn't have the funds to do that. So that was probably stopping me selling, or I thought I was going to have to take a big hit in the market because it was in a bad way. Yeah,
you're in a great spot. You're in a great street, close to everything in terms of schools and shops and all those sorts of things. But it did, unfortunately, have things like it was painting that needed to be done. The eaves hadn't been completed. There was flashings that hadn't been completed. There was some, you'd pulled out some old brickwork and stuff down the back, and that sort of on the back wall, and so it was still marked, and none of that was sort of finalised. So there was things there that a lot of agents will just sell as is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
And just go, no, we can sell
it.
Yeah. But when we came in, what was the approach that we took?
Well, I think that the approach that you took was that do the main things, and I think the advice that you gave was just exactly what needed to be done. There was nothing else that I disagreed with really in regard to. It was exactly what I was thinking, and you were able to put that detail and bring it to life really, because through the financial assistance that you gave through that, like buying the actual product, even though I did was able to do a lot of the labour, and you supplied some of the labour too in regard to the painting, and so I think everything that you said that you were going to do, I think we achieved that. We talked about budgets. We talked about what we needed done. You were totally transparent all the way, and I appreciate that, because it's a bit scary, sort of putting yourself in a real estate's hands, and
yeah, correct.
Sort of be trusting, but you were fantastic, really. I mean, I've never had a real estate agent help me lay turf before, so it was good to see.
That's the second vendor in a very short amount of time that said that. So maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm in the wrong game. But no, look, we just identified the things that we needed to, and we put those into a spreadsheet.
Yep.
We worked out what those costs were. We gave you a budget to say this is where we believe it needs to be, but to spend that, what we're trying to achieve is this.
Yep.
If we don't spend that, then your outcome's going to be gauged by that, and the people walk in and go, yeah, that's a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem, I'm going to carve money off straight away. Whereas if they walk in and don't see those issues, well, they enjoy the property, which is what we had.
Yep.
So we didn't have it advertised for that long, and the goal was always to get in that high 6s to a 7. If we get a 7 in front of it, we're really lucky, we're really happy, and we did. So when you think of, ultimately, I think we ended up with a budget that was 35 grand plus contingency, which I always allow for, so we end up with another 3.5, so it's about 38 and a half.
Yeah.
We end up spending 41.
Yeah, it was around 42.
41, 42.
Yeah.
But there was also some of those bits in there that, like, you did a huge amount of work.
Yeah.
Huge amount of work. So if you're paying for the labour, there was a lot of labour there.
Correct.
Yeah. But there was things that, because of the amount of work that you were doing, you weren't able to get to some of the other things, which is why we put other people in to fix some of those bits.
That's right.
Yeah, just because of a timing thing.
Yeah.
You would have got there.
Yeah.
But it was friggin' hard.
Yeah, at the start I did want to do everything and maintain that control, but pretty early on it was evident that I wasn't going to get to everything, and through your advice and supplying the labour, we finished up with some really good tradespeople, and it worked out well. I was able to concentrate on what I needed to do, and they were able to do what they needed to do, so it was good.
Worked out perfect. So in the end, we ended up with a result that was probably somewhere around the $80,000 mark better off by doing the work. Would you? Yeah?
That's right.
Yeah. And that's not putting words in your mouth. I mean, you run the numbers of what we had before and what we ended up selling for and what we spent on it. And so to pick up an extra around about 80 grand is the goal that we set out to achieve in the first place. So it could be 60. Worst case, it was 40, but if we could get a 60 and then we get an 80, well, that's gold.
Yep.
And we did. So
yeah, and then we had the added obstacle that all that work took a little bit longer. So we were listing it around November.
Yep.
But to achieve that sale just after New Year's Eve, I mean that
Correct.
was amazing, really.
Yeah. So it was virtually on the cards right on Christmas time, and it happened around New Year's, and it's due to settle any time now. So we're only just into the beginning of the first quarter of 2019, and that result's going to realise itself. It does make a difference, and we didn't mind, or we don't do that everywhere in terms of that amount of money, but I knew that we could spend it because the evidence was there from the analysis that we did to show where we could pitch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we already had that, didn't we? We had that right in a spreadsheet. We could look at all the different properties. We can go, well, look at all these. Look what they're selling for. That's what they've got. This is what yours doesn't. But if we do that, we're better than yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, or equal to, which meant that we could project to the market that that's what it was worth. And you had aspects in terms of views and things like that, and you'd done so much over the years at your own labour, which obviously people don't tend to value the same as if they pay a trade.
That's right. Yeah.
Respectfully. So it worked out really well. And so for the viewer's point of view, if you do have a property that you believe is lacking in its maximisation, you've got agents walking through to say, look, we can just sell it as it is. What would be your... And I haven't loaded any of this. What would be your words to them? What would you say to them is probably the best thing to do instead of just going, well, okay, look, I'll just take the hit and load it and list it as it is?
Well, I guess if you've got the money, do the works yourself.
That we identify.
That's correct. But if you haven't got the money, I mean, the facility that you offered myself was amazing, and there was no pressure, there was no nothing, and it just comes out in the disbursements at the end. Like I said, it's all been transparent. It's been the least stress-free. Well, it's been so stress-free selling this property. It's not funny, really. I mean, even just doing the work, I could just concentrate on doing the work, and you concentrated on the money and the keeping to the budget. So it really was a benefit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You need to have both managed well, but be prepared to identify it all early and try and stick as much to it. So, which we did really.
Yeah.
So there's only a couple of things that sort of always pop up, and we had them covered. So look, from our point of view, it was as another example of what can be achieved if you use the right knowledge and skill. And of course, coming from 25 years in the building industry, that taught me a lot.
Yeah.
So it taught me how to look at things, but buying and selling properties taught me a lot of how to, again, look at things and how to go, what's important, what's not important, what can I leverage and get money back on, what do I not get money back on. And if you don't have necessarily that knowledge because you haven't been through that, then you actually need to team up with people that have got that, and understand what that is. And then, of course, you make a better choice. So rather than picking an agent who's just an agent to sell a property, in my opinion, not because it's me, if you could find someone else, do it with someone else if they've got the skill, but find someone who's actually got that ability.
Yeah, and you won't waste your money.
No.
No.
You're not. Well, we backed it with our own money.
That's correct, yeah.
So we had to get a result that we said we would achieve, because if we got a shit result, it was harder on you and harder on us.
Yeah. And by the way, the place does look amazing. I mean, it looks like a brand new place.
Yeah.
Very proud of it. And,
Now you can move on to the next journey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, my mate, thanks so much for the opportunity. You did take a gamble when we were talking from the beginning.
Bit of a gamble. Yeah.
It was a gamble, but I told you not to worry about it.
No.
Told you that we'd make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah, and fortunately, again, we did make it happen. But as I say, it's important to know that you can look at things in a different way, and should always ask the question to find out what is possible.
That's right.
Which is why we're doing this, because I want people to understand that you don't have to settle for just what it is. You can actually get more.
Yeah, well, I probably procrastinated probably 12 months because I just didn't have the funds to go forward. I knew I had the ability to be able to finish the job, but I just couldn't come up with that money to buy all the things that I needed. And, you know, like I said, the vehicle that you offered or the facility that you offered was, you know, was seamless, really.
And in Wayne's case, guys, the benefit of that, and it's not in everyone's cases because sometimes it could be investment property, but we do tend to do it more on properties that are owner-occupiers, is that extra 80 grand is tax-free.
Yeah.
Not getting slapped with a tax bill on that, it's tax-free.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important, whether it be 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, you can get that extra. How long does it take to earn 50 grand, 80 grand?
Yeah.
You know, so it took 4 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Really?
You know, so
September, October, November, December.
Yeah.
4 months, 80 grand, 20 grand a month, happy days.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It is. But, you know, I was fully aware that that was your money that that was invested in my house the whole time. So, you know, again, very generous, and it worked out a treat.
Yeah, but you need to do the work. So, so it was a team effort at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's either you do the work or we've got to pay someone else, which means there's less margin because they do the work. But
That's
there'd still be margin in it. So good result. Thanks again, mate. Really appreciate it. Look forward to hearing about the journey north as it happens.
We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, we will definitely keep in touch.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, Wayne. Perfect.